All right, even though today's the first day of the work week, the people on Capitol Hill already looking toward Thursday because that is when their August vacation begins, the summer break officially. But you think to yourself, wait a minute, is this really time for them to go on vacation? After all, we've got an invasion on our southern border. While both sides have talked about doing something about it, nobody has.
Right, a lot of blame to go around, so they say. But actually, Steve Scalise out of Louisiana, he says, I'm not going anywhere until we fix this problem. And I'm going to double down on the fact that this is the president's fault for not getting anything done. So let's try.
The president's been AWOL on this from the very beginning. The president has a lot of time on his schedule to secure fundraisers. He has no time to secure the border. He has not taken his job seriously in this regard. The House is willing to lead. The House has laid out what we'll do to solve this problem. If the president wants to just sit back and play politics, he's flying around the country doing fundraisers. He doesn't have time to come and sit down and work with Congress. We're going to get this problem solved.
Yeah, we'll see. They have a highway trust fund. I don't know if anyone's going to extend it. We also would like to find out about the Export-Import Bank. There's a big fight to be had there. I guess they just put it off. And there's also money for the border. That president wants about $4 billion. The House says, I'll give you $750 million, and then we'll just stop talking about it. So we'll see where it goes from there. Speaking of immigration, let's talk about the illegal immigrants, so many of which are children, that have come across our borders. Where have they gone? Where will they go? Well, it turns out, according to one governor, they've come to his state. He had no idea about it.
He didn't, and we're talking about Bill Haslam, the Republican governor of the great state of Tennessee.
Right.
They were at a governor's meeting a couple of months ago, and he specifically asked the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Sylvia Burwell, hey, if you're going to put any of these illegals in our state, let us know, will you? Nodding. Okay. Well, then he logs on to the HHS website and discovers that 760 of the kids have been released somewhere in Tennessee, 30,000 all across the country.
Right.
And as it turns out, he didn't get a heads up, even though he apparently was promised one.
Yeah, he was ticked, and he actually went out to slam the president and those that he met with the warning that he requested unfulfilled, saying this, quote, not only was our state not informed prior to any of the children being brought here, I still have not been contacted and have no information about these individuals or their sponsors other than what was posted on the HHS website and subsequently reported by media. Some of the questions he's looking for answers to are how the federal government located the sponsors, what medical screenings were done for the juveniles that have crossed here and now been poured into our state, what's the immigration status of the actual sponsors, and how long are they going to remain in Tennessee? All this confusion adding to chaos as we enter into a school season here, and states suffer right now under the hands of a government who's trying to empty the boat filled with water at the border and pouring it on the heads of the leaders by states.
Remember, his good buddy Deval Patrick had no idea there were illegals being put into his state of Massachusetts, embarrassed a man that could be running for president, and which is not a pretty good thing. So we're trying to find out where these kids have gone. I think 30,000 of which had just disappeared into the system. And in terms of the actual compassion shown to the children, George Will kind of surprised many yesterday on Fox News Sunday when Chris Wallace asked him, what about the illegals? Listen.
We have 3,141 counties in this country. That'd be 20 per county. The idea that we can't assimilate these 8-year-old criminals with their teddy bears is preposterous.
So what George Will is saying, make them Americans, but spread them around. You know what? I know one mayor of a big town here in the United States who'd love to take 1,000 of the illegals is Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel. He said over the weekend, go ahead, we'll take 1,000 of the illegals, and we're going to use the city's legal resources to help them. But, do the kids really want to go to one of the most dangerous, most violent, crazy towns in America? You look at the number of shootings over the last weekend alone. Over the weekend, there were 23 shootings this weekend alone. 23. And when you look at the number of shootings in Chicago from mid-June to mid-July, it was 220. So he can say, we'll take 1,000 kids, but is it safe in Chicago right now?
Not only that, but when you take those that are most susceptible to entering into gang violence, Chicago is at the helm of this. Agents actually asked for more agents to be sent there 10 days ago. The federal government was saying they were going to provide additional efforts to deal with the battle violence going on in Chicago, adding to about, I think, a total of 52 alcohol, tobacco, and firearms agents that have now been added to their situation there. So why would you take young kids teens, put them in a situation when they're susceptible to more gang violence or joining gangs, particularly when we have a gang that's taking advantage of the border crisis right now, crossing in MS-13 and adding to the complexity here of this.
Right, they can give them free tattoos as they come in to join domestic gangs and maybe learn another language. Here's the thing about Rahm Emanuel. If you're in Chicago or Illinois right now, how outraged are you? Because you know the school system's underfunded. You know the pension plan's about to collapse. It is basically a failed state. And then the mayor, Emanuel, wants to look magnanimous and compassionate by saying, give me 500 or 1,000 kids that I will prop up. If I'm a parent or a single parent trying to make things work in Chicago, and I hear you're going to use state funds to help kids from another country, I'd be outraged.
Well, they're not only outraged at Rahm Emanuel, they're outraged at the President of the United States. And in fact, I was reading one blog post from a very prominent blogger out there who said, look, we got all these shootings here in this town, Mr. President, and you're talking about spending millions and billions of dollars down in Texas. Come on.
Yeah, give every kid some Kevlar and then send them to school.
Give them Kevlar or give them a driver. The President of the United States over the weekend, while we've got the things going on with Gaza, we've got the stuff with Ukraine, the President of the United States spent the weekend with Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon, the hosts of ESPN's Pardon the Interruption, at the Congressional Country Club in Washington, D.C.
That's right. You know, why not? I mean, I don't know how many rounds of golf it's been. I'm a person who thinks, look, you want to golf, that's fine. If it helps you clear your head, if it helps you do things right, if it helps you take action, fine, golf all you want. But that doesn't seem to be the case when it comes to the President of the United States. Former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright actually says the world is a mess. Somebody better wake up to it.
There have been really two huge game changers, and one is Putin's behavior vis-a-vis first Crimea and then now towards Ukraine, and a completely different kind of behavior by Russia. And the other is what is happening in the Middle East, a lot of it due to the Arab awakening and also the artificiality of the borders that were established after World War I. So these are huge game changers. There are an awful lot of things going on that need understanding and explanation. But to put it mildly, the world is a mess.
She's also being very political. If you watch the whole interview, she also said, I have no problem with the president not engaged golf and going to fundraisers. He has 81 rounds of golf, to ask your question, 75 political fundraisers in 628 days since the 2012 election.
Sure.
Seemingly aloof, as those have said.
And by the way, look what happened in Libya over the weekend. We had to evacuate our embassy. It was an absolute emergency. All our guys are out. The Marines had to get all the sensitive information. What happened to that operation? We go in with the Arab League and we go with some Western allies, and we just leave. There was no plan. It is chaos.
She's right. Things are a mess. Matt Lewis of the Daily Caller wrote a column in the Telegraph over the weekend, and he says the President of the United States has already checked out of his job. He's phoning it in, sleepwalking through the second term with golf and dinner parties. He's prematurely packing his bags. He's ready for an early departure.
James
so
Carville says,
while the world is aflame, everything is a mess, to paraphrase what Madeleine Albright just said. Is it time for the President of the United States to pack up the golf bag and put it down and maybe do his job for a couple of days, maybe turn some of this stuff around? Or it's the summer. He should be taking it easy. What do you think? Email us, friends@foxnews.com. You could also Twitter us or Facebook.
James Carville said something very similar on Thursday to Bill O'Reilly. President doesn't care about the polls, doesn't care about what people think. He's already looking at his place in history, which is not good for us. What about everybody else in the congressional that wanted to golf? They can't because the president's there.
Maybe take a look at the changing global map that's occurring right now.
Right. Meanwhile,